I don't know if I can handle the difficulties that come with that commitment. And by the way, this generation of people, if you read all the social studies about our generation, particularly millennials, fear of commitment in relationship, fear of commitment in long-term investment, fear of commitment is a prominent is a prominent hallmark of this generation, right? In terms of delaying things because I don't know if I can commit to it. And obviously that's going to tie into our relationship with God as well, right? I don't know if I can really commit to this and make this change and deal with what comes with it in terms of the package. So sometimes we put off commitment because we're afraid of the hardship that's going to come with that commitment. And we don't know if we're going to be able to handle that hardship. And because of that, we either wait till we feel like we're in a position of strength to be able to handle the consequences of commitment, or we wait for the circumstances to be a little bit less detrimental, right? To be easier for us to make that commitment. And so what that looks like is that, again, if you take it back to that person that was sitting in Mecca, if they didn't hate the Prophet ﷺ so much, and if they didn't fight him so much, then maybe I'll join him if Abu Jahl tones it down a bit, right? So if the climate becomes easier to be a Muslim and to commit, then maybe I'll do it then, right? So I'm either waiting for myself to develop this strength, or I'm waiting for the environment to be less weakening, right? So I'm putting this all off into the future. And obviously the most faulty assumption of it all is that I'm making the assumption that I'm going to live to see the time when I develop this strength, or when the circumstances become easier to make these commitments. So that's one level of putting off commitment. Another reason why people put off commitments is because they're afraid of giving a false impression to others, or they consider what people will say if they make that commitment and they fail, okay? If they make that commitment and they fail. So, let's say that I start doing this, and then if I start doing this and I find it weak, and then I move back on my commitment, if I take it back, then people are going to say, oh, there you go. And what a shame. And you were making progress and then you went back, right? So I might as well just kind of stay out of it, because I don't want to create a false impression that I'm making change that I'm not so certain that I'm going to be able to hold on to. And subhanAllah, the faulty assumption there, who cares what people think? Who cares what people think? Who cares if people think that you're making progress or not making progress? Who cares if people are saying mashallah or astaghfirullah with you? Who cares, right? You should be thinking about your journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you're going to put off an effort that you should be making for him because you're afraid of people misjudging where you're at in that journey, then that's a serious issue, right? That means that you're considering their sight a little bit too much. Okay, a little bit too much. Who cares what they think? Instead, focusing on my journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I'm going to make an upward climb, I'm going to fall. I'm going to trip. I'm going to have times where I'm going to lose my footing. Think about climbing a mountain, right? I'm going to have times that I'm going to lose my footing. I'm going to have times that I'm going to feel like I need to take a break. Those are natural things that come with journey. But you don't do that with worldly success. You don't say, well, I'm not going to start because I don't think I'm going to get there. No, you need to make that first step and, go through the difficulty of the climb. And it doesn't matter if people see you stumble. You have to stumble in order to get up there, right? So sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to start doing this. And then people will say this, or, one of the easiest tricks of shaitan, subhanAllah. And I see it happen with so many people, and it's heartbreaking. And I should say I see it happen with myself too sometimes, okay? It's not just people. Let's think about how shaitan attacks all of us. One of the things that often happens when it comes to making tawbah or making change, I don't want people to say that I only did this because of this, and that. I went through this journey. Oh, so now this is happening and now that's happening. And so I'm going to put it off until I feel like it's a sincere commitment to change, right? And you got to realize shaitan wants to disconnect you from intention or action. So if he can't disconnect you from intention, he's going to disconnect you from action.